Welcome everybody to this edition of Beat the Holiday Blues. I am Tim Rolfe, Family Advocacy Program Manager here at Redstone Arsenal, and I am joined by Mr. Jim Wesser. He is the Employee Assistance Program Coordinator for Redstone Arsenal Garrison Support. Welcome, Mr. Wesser. How are you, sir?
Good. It's a Tim and Jim show.
And can I call you Jim? Tim and Jim?
Absolutely.
It's the T&J show. All right. Well, we're super excited to have you here today, sir. You're relatively new to the Redstone Arsenal community, correct?
That's correct. Came on board on July 18th.
July 18th of this summer.
That's correct.
And so tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and what you're currently doing, if you don't mind.
I'm a retiree. I did 20 years in the Army as a tanker. Best job in the world. I retired and moved out to Los Angeles and worked with children with autism for a couple of years. And then I got a government job working in Army education. I did that for 18 years, but I had been wanting to move into the EAP field for a long time before that.
Yeah.
So I went back to school a bunch, got my master's degree in crisis response and trauma and an EDS in clinical mental health counseling, and did a lot of volunteer work for the Red Cross as a disaster mental health counselor, and I worked as a volunteer for Crisis Services in North Alabama for a couple of years as a volunteer crisis call center person.
Familiar with that agency well. We have a memorandum of agreement with them, the Family Advocacy Program, for our domestic violence victims. So it's a great program in the community. I want to talk a little bit about the EAP program, or should I say EA program, Employee Assistance Program. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about the program and what you do and how that program works and how it serves the community, if you don't mind.
Before I came to Redstone, I had no idea what EAP was. I mean, it's a great program, and the fact that the word is not out as much as it should be, I think, is a travesty. But we're here to support our civilian employees, their families, with just anything from life skills to work stress, and just, helping the community. We do a lot of classes. We do suicide prevention and awareness. We do mindfulness training. We do substance abuse training. And it's really a great program. And we're trying to get out to the community as much as we can, our Redstone community. Mm-hmm. And I think it's important that, we know that the community knows that we're here, and B, that we can actually help folks get through whatever issues they might be going through. We can offer short-term, non-clinical assistance, and we can also refer out. So if we have, it's not uncommon for us to refer folks out to a myriad of different reasons. So,
Okay. So we had Major Imes on in our last episode, and so she talked about more of the support for service members. Mm-hmm. So who is primarily your clientele?
Most of our clientele are Department of the Army civilians and their family members. Mm-hmm. We don't work with children, but we can talk. We can refer out to. We have children that need help as well, and we can refer them out. We have an extensive list of providers that can help with, like I said, a bunch of different things.
Right.
So if it's too much for us, we can refer out.
Right. So it just depends on them. So are some of the referrals you receive, are they supervisory referrals, or are they self-referrals, or a little bit of both?
We do all of it. We do supervisor referrals. We do security referrals. We do a lot of folks. Most of the folks that come see us are self-referred.
Okay.
They're struggling at either work or at home, and they just need someone to help them through that. Sometimes they'll come in and just vent, which is okay. I have no problem people yelling at me.
Right.
Right.
But sometimes they just need an ear to listen.
They just need to hear an ear to listen. No one's ever yelled at me before, but it's good for them to come into a safe place. Everything that happens there stays there. It's like Vegas. And, if they just want to unburden themselves, they can do that here.
Right.
And we won't, it's kind of like your program and Major Imes' program is that everything is confidential.
Right. So we are talking about the holidays, mm-hmm. and so we're wondering, is there any trends or things that you see within your program, some of the people self-referring, that they're kind of struggling with that's related to the holidays? Is there common issues that you're seeing?
I think there is, and a lot of it has to do with spending during the holidays. You know, it's not uncommon for us to spend a little bit more than we
overextend ourselves,
overextend ourselves financially, and you know, also with alcohol. You know, a lot of people drink a lot of alcohol during this time of year.
Yeah,
and of course, we eat a lot.
Right.
I'm one of those people that eat a lot during the holidays, but you know, we just have to kind of monitor what we're doing and be aware of it.
Right.
And as we get closer to the holidays, with the overextension of spending, that can create problems in the workplace because they know, you know, it's a stressful time of year to begin with, and then they're spending so much money, and they might be drinking a little bit too much, and it just builds up.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of the things that we see too with the family dynamic, you know, and the fact that, you know, families are coming together and spending more time together. Are there things that you recommend or suggest for people to, you know, be able to manage the holidays more effectively? What are some solutions that your program offers when people come through your doors?
We do a lot of stress management.
Yeah,
especially when people start getting together as families. You know, we've been away from that for a little while because of the pandemic. But now that everything seems to be calming down a little bit, not saying it's gone, but people are starting to come together. And if you've been away from each other for, you know, a couple, 2-3 years, and you bring everybody back together, there could be some headbutting going on, because sometimes people just save up and just bring all their stuff with them at the same time at this one point at this holiday season, and they just unload. Right. Well, you know, last year we did this, and the year before we did that. Yeah. And you know, it's stressful, you know, especially for the person that's hosting. Right. You know, so if you're hosting and you're bringing folks you haven't seen in a couple of years, it can really be stressful. Right.
Sometimes just expecting stress can be a good stress management approach, right? Just expecting it, that there be some turbulence. What other things do you recommend as far as stress management? What does that look like? Are we talking about meditation? Are we talking about deep breathing exercises?
I am a firm believer in meditation. I am a firm believer in breathing exercises, and I'm a firm believer in visualization. The more you prepare yourself for that stressful encounter, and if you can war game it in your head that this could very well be whatever's going to happen, because you know that person, right, or know their personality, and you visualize it, I think that you can very easily make it through. Well, not easily, but you can make it through without any battle scars, so to speak. But I'm a big fan of visualization. I visualize every interaction I have to go through, including this podcast. But, you know, the more you prepare yourself for whatever interaction you're going to have, I think the better off you're going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. You know? Yeah. With visualization, I also, you know, we do solution-focused approach type of trainings, and one of the things that we like to preach a lot of times is planning, right? Yeah. Planning ahead and having a plan for if you know that a relative's coming and to your party or your gathering, for example, and there's been some turbulence within that relationship, right? Yeah. To maybe plan ahead, right? And think about, you know, what we want to talk about, maybe some things that we want to avoid talking about right now, or, you know, addressing at a later time. So do you recommend that there's this planning that should go into holiday season?
Absolutely. You know, being a retired military, I plan as much as I can. Yeah. Because I know that there's going to be situations that could arise. I plan for that. If it doesn't happen, that's a big win. Right. But if it does happen, you at least have something that you can fall back on. Yeah. And I'm kind of a nerd this way, in that I rehearse a lot of stuff that may or may not happen. Right. And I just kind of work it just so I know in the event that it does happen, whatever it is, I have a plan for that. Right. But you have to, you also have to look at the things that you can never plan for. Right. But if you have your planning down and you're pretty much war gamed it, you should be fine.
Well, there's a term out there that says control the controllables, right?
Exactly.
We can only control the controllables, and sometimes I think our stress levels, especially during the holidays, they get out of control because we try to control things that are not within our control to do so. Yeah. And so to keep that in mind and keep that perspective. Any other last minute tips or recommendations heading into this 2022 holiday season, Mr. Wesser?
I'll tell you, spend wisely if you can. Cut down on the alcohol if you can. Well, we all can, but just kind of be aware of your surroundings. Yeah. Be aware of the people that are around you that might be able to push your buttons. Yeah. And just, if you can avoid it, avoid it.
Yeah. And the holidays are a time of, again, kind of taking it easy, relaxing, maybe taking some time off. Right. And self-care,
Absolutely.
Self-care is extremely important, would you say? Because sometimes we overindulge in working through the holidays, and not giving ourselves that downtime. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, self-care is so important. And I think one of the things that we fail to do, in general, but especially during the holidays, is we don't take care of ourselves. Mm-hmm. We're so focused on getting whatever event you're attending done perfectly as you can get it. Yeah. And we don't take time to say, hey, I need to take a break and just, relax. And, it's not, this is a one-time thing. It's going to happen this year, and the next year it'll be at my brother's house or whatever. Yeah. So, but stepping back just for a couple of minutes, just to take stock of what's going on around you and taking care of yourself is so important.
I agree. I think with holiday traditions, right, and things that the expectations are just so high sometimes that, we meet all of those expectations of family members, friends, or whatever. And, to set boundaries, right, and learn when to say no. And
Absolutely.
It's okay to say no once in a while, that we don't overextend ourselves.
Absolutely. And setting those expectations, Yeah. You have a family member or someone that's coming over that's who's drank a little bit much, and they're doing whatever they're doing, there has to be an expectation that, that's not acceptable. Yeah. And establishing those boundaries is so important.
Yeah, sure.
Even with your own family, with your kids and stuff like that, you have to set those boundaries for folks that are coming into your house.
Absolutely. Yeah. I would agree. Well, that is great information. We are so glad you stopped by today to talk about ways we can manage our holidays and actually enjoy the season. Thank you so much for coming by. Mr. Jim Wesser, the EAP Program Coordinator. Do you want to give any last minute information about how to contact you?
Right. You can contact us at 256-316-6098, and my email address is james.d as in Delta, Wesser, Wesser, .civ@army.mil, and we'd be glad to talk to you. Please come by and see us if you need us.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Wesser, for stopping by today. And thank you all for listening. And this is Tim Rolfe. We hope you have a happy holiday season. And we are signing off for now. Talk to you again soon.